Alright guys, and welcome to another episode of OMG WAT DAT. This is a day episode, so don't be confused. My name is Jubu, and today we are at the Bishop Museum. Yes, behind me is not a castle, it's the museum for those of you who do not know. I'm here today to tell you a few stories that a lot of people don't know. Also just to explore and cruise around the Bishop Museum. It's been a while since I've actually been here, so this is more like a refresher thing, but we'll see you inside. And thanks for coming on to this episode today. Also, if you guys kind of like my stuff, hopefully you guys can share, like, and subscribe. Sorry. Anyway, meet you inside. This is the Kahili Room at Bishop Museum. Here it is said that you feel the mana. These are the original kahili used by the monarchs during the Hawaiian royalty times. It's still quite yeah, you can feel the mana still in this room. It's like you're being watched. Anyway, here it is said these paintings will stare at you. I'm here to tell the story. Well, not to tell a story, but just to give you an idea of what was haunted. Here, some say that it is haunted by the feel like you're being watched. Paintings staring at you. It is still kind of, I can't figure out the word, but it just feels like you're in the presence of total royalty, which you are, because this is the real kahili. Both the dynasties are here, Kamehameha and the Kalakaua dynasties. But this is said, like I said, I do remember of a few stories that's in here that was told to me back in the 80s. I will take you to the picture. Sorry guys, there was a tour going on, had to shut it off. Anyway, to continue on what I was basically saying, it will be out of the Kahili room. But it is said that a certain spirit still roams the area and this area, and I'll show you the picture of who he is, which is basically Prince Albert. So supposedly he hangs around in the Kahili room. So, but he's also said to and rumored to still play around on the Capitol also. He's attached to a specific he's supposedly still haunts another location, which is actually the Capitol. He's kind of associated with a painting that's there. I do believe it, well, I'm not going to tell you what floor it's on, but he is said to run the hallways, and you hear the sounds of a child's foot running around. It's him. Anyway, that's the Kahili room, guys. Alright guys, I'm in Hawaii Hall. Just to give you a heads up that Hawaii Hall is set in 3 levels. The bottom one is actually designed for the gods, the legends, like the mo'o, ku, and all that kind of stuff. Second level, I do believe that's the ancient Hawaiian life, and all the artifacts that belong to it. Then the third level is the plantation or royal days, you know, like just before statehood and statehood and all that. That's basically what that whole top part was all about. But there's one on this bottom level I want to bring up, which is the rock. It's a key that was brought here and placed at this spot, and ever since then it hasn't moved, and every time they try to move it, it doesn't want to move. It likes its spot. But here's the rock, or the key, sorry, not rock. This is the key. It came from I don't know where it came from, but I'll videotape the sign. Supposedly this key was placed here, and it said that it can't be moved. Every time they do renovations and all that, it never had the chance to, well, it was not allowed to move. Well, it didn't want to move. It stayed in its spot, so they built around it. But this is one of those that say that you can see shadows and lights from this particular key sometimes. But here's the notation. And it basically says of how it was brought here, and it never moved. So yeah, it was brought here and it never moved from its location. There's also statues of the mo'o. For those of you, there's actually the key. They were worshipped too, but this is some of the behind me. These are the mo'o statues, the lizard gods. And those of you who've seen my videos, you know I've been in search of a few of them, but this is the mo'o. Okay. There's also locations. Here's a depiction of the heiau. I'm assuming this is a blood heiau. But this is a model recreation of a blood. I do believe it's a blood heiau, but I may be wrong. Wahalua. Now, if you've seen some of my videos, this is actually not how it looks like. A lot of my videos, like Pu'u Mahuka, Ulupo, and all that, they don't look like this. Primarily because every heiau has a distinctive look. But this is a general gist of what they look like. Normally there's a storage area for the relics. I do not know where. There you go, a location to put offerings and all that, and of course the gods. Alright guys, I am in what they call the picture gallery. It's basically a gallery of pictures of the Hawaiian culture and the princes and all that kind of stuff. But one of the reasons why I want to emphasize this one is this is the room supposedly that held the key and the warhead of Ku Kaliamoku, the original ones. The original ones are now in Kona, somewhere in some lava tubes. But when they were stored here originally, back in the 80s, this is when I was in high school. It was said it was stored up here in this location. This was a high paranormal area. A lot of sightings of the warriors, the Kapu warriors and all that. Basically, it held the two, I do believe it was two key are the statues that was in Heiaus. Supposedly it was taken by Europeans and then they were given back to the Bishop Museum and stored here for like 10 years. During that 10 years, there was really weird things that was happening. I do believe it was given back in 70s. I might be wrong. But when I came here to do certain things, like the Halloween thing that they used to hold in the 1980s, this was off limits. Primarily because there was a lot of weird things would happen. Like I said, the shadows, the drums, weird smells, one of tobacco. Pictures would seem to move in here, and all that. That's this room. The one thing I want to bring up is the last time I was here trying to film this room, and this room would not let me film. Everything would go wrong, my cameras and all that. I think this time around they approved me being here because I'm not really having major issues. But yeah, this is the room supposedly held the key, the 4-key, the Ku Kaliamoku war helm, or the warhead, Kamehameha's war helm and his cape were all over here. They were all stored and displayed up here. I think what had happened was the hauntings that was in here caused them to close this down for a while. They finally realized to send it back, so they did, and yeah, it's gone. So, but you can feel the mana still in this room, even if those artifacts are not here anymore, or they're fake, or replicas, not fake, replicas of what it was. You can still feel the mana. So hopefully nothing happens to us this time around. But let's take a look at the picture gallery. It's happening again. All right. Why is it it's always this room? Alright guys, I got the camera going on again. Let's just explore and look at the stuff. But yes, in the 1980s, just to tell you the story, I used to come over here and do a haunted museum thing with a few high schoolers. Private schoolers would actually come here to hold Halloween events. We did not hold it in the museum per se, but there's another building that was here that was allowed for us to do haunted houses. I think it was Kamehameha schools that allowed the haunted house to happen here. It hasn't happened since 1980, I think 88. But this is where I got the wind of the story of this place, this room, in fact. This was the room that was kind of weird at one point back in the 80s. Now, since the artifacts are no longer held here, things are all normal. But the pictures are basically still the same. It's just the key was held in here. I doubt anybody would actually talk about it over here, but there, yeah. And as you can tell, I do believe that's where the original artifacts was held. It's empty right now. So, but I've heard that the artifacts are now in Kona, Big Island, and supposedly in a sacred lava tube that's on the top of the mountain at where they're all holding the demonstrations up on Mauna Kea. It's closer to Puakaloa than a lot of people think, but I do know of that lava tube that it's in there, and that pu'u that should be there, but no one should be actually going over there because it is sacred, plus it's secret, and you're not supposed to be touching those old artifacts. Like I was saying, I think they sent it back to Kona primarily because of the things that was happening here at this museum. Anyway, that's now this is Pacific Hall. Pacific Hall is basically all of the Polynesian islands, and basically this hall kind of tells of the culture and all that of the Pacific Islands. There is one thing though that's back here that supposedly is a haunting. And it's the haunting of an artifact. It's artifacts basically. It's not Bishop Museum. It's the artifacts within Bishop Museum that causes these hauntings. But it is said back here in this location is a child. It plays with these things. Sometimes you will catch objects moving on its own, poltergeist activity, and it is said of the spirit of a child. You also see shadows sometimes, which I thought I just seen one, but it could have been me. But yeah, this is Pacific Hall. This is where the child plays around. On the second level though, which we're headed to now, is said if you look into the glass deeply, when you're looking at these artifacts, there are certain things you will see, like a shadow image of warriors standing behind you. We'll see if that comes true now. But yeah, Pacific Hall is supposedly haunted by shadows or images, apparitions in the glass. If you look hard enough, you may see one of them. Something's different here. Ooh, starting to get a slight headache. Yeah, the whale is missing. That's weird. I just thought I seen a flash. But this is Pacific Hall, a hall dedicated to the Pacific all of the Pacific Polynesian islands. So they're referencing each display is representing a different island, like the Society Islands, the Marquesas, Rapa Nui, Aotearoa, Starting to get a really sharp headache here. I think this one, they might not like me being around. Anyway, that's the story here. This is the Pacific Hall. I'm gonna leave. I think this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this hall. I'm getting a major migraine, and that's always a sign of move on. So I'm gonna move on. Now, if anyone was ever wondering, where did we hold the Halloween things in the 80s? We actually held the Halloween events. If I remember correctly, it was this building behind us. It was a church building, and basically people would actually come in through that main door, and then they would come out on the back side, which is located on down there. But yeah, in the 80s they used to hold like a Halloween museum, like a museum Halloween thing. This is before this building ever was made. This was still in construction at that time, and I do believe it was just a gate. But people would actually use this building right here back then. Now it's a staff building. No one's really going to be using that anymore. So, but yeah, we used to exit out on that side, and then you come through, and that's basically in the 80s, guys. So if you ever wondered what yeah, go ahead. Yeah, no, it's face towards me. So yeah, if you guys were wondering, back in the 80s, that's basically where it was held. Now I'm doubtful that they even do that every Halloween, but it used to be a good hangout place. Well, not hangout place, but it was a good scare. I was basically one of the actors there, and you would go in. Actually, I'm wrong. You would go in. Let's go walking toward the area. Oh, it's a staff only entrance now. But basically you would go in. Yes, I do believe I am right. I'm assuming no one's really going to bust me if I'm over here. But you would go in on this side, and you'd come out on that corner side, and basically that's, people would come here, you'd park in this area, and you'd go into that building, which is now a staff building. That building right there. But you would come in, and then you would come out the side entrance. It is said that this building is also heavily haunted. I don't know if that's the reason why they've changed this into a staff building, but at one point the artifacts held in this location actually did weird stuff. So yeah, I do not know if they've ever opened this to the public, but I heard that, well, not I heard, I know this building is actually haunted, and it's not really open to the public. So yeah, anyway, just to give a heads up also, that banyan tree that you see across the way is also another haunted location. But it is said when you go in there, you hear the weeping. I do not know why you hear weeping in that tree, but that's another one. But anyway, that should wrap up today's little jaunt. I got a major headache after going through the Pacific Hall. For some apparent reason, it's I think the Pacific Hall spirits did not like me being there. I was only there for like a few minutes, and it just felt like it's time to get out. That being said, thank you guys for coming on to this episode of OMG WAT DAT. I haven't said it, but if you like what I showed you guys today, share, like, and subscribe, and then yeah, I can continue on. I will be taking a slight break until the end of the year. So for those of you who are waiting or subscribe to me, thanks once again, guys, for subscribing. I will be continuing on this little thing. I will be going to Maui, and then I will be videotaping. I will, assuming, videotape some of the things I can. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll see you on the next episode of OMG WAT DAT, and thanks. And remember, live life to the fullest. Peace. And I'll see you again on the next episode. See ya.